Have you ever felt like you're living a life that doesn't fully feel like yours? Like you're playing a role, meeting expectations, doing what you're supposed to do. But deep down, something feels off. That feeling has a name, and understanding it might change how you see your entire life. It's called individuation. And simply put, individuation is the process of becoming who you truly are. Not who your parents wanted you to be, not who society expects you to be, not who your past forced you to be, but who you actually are at your core. Now, here's the truth most people never realize. You are not born as your full self. You grow into it. From the moment you're born, you start adapting. As a child, you learn what gets you love, approval and safety. Maybe you learned to be the strong one, or the quiet one, or the achiever, or the people pleaser. And over time, those roles become your identity. But here's the problem. Those roles are not necessarily you. They're versions of you that were shaped by survival. Individuation begins when you start questioning those roles. When you start asking, is this really me or just who I learned to be? And honestly, that question can feel pretty uncomfortable, even scary, you know. Because if you've spent years, maybe even decades, being a certain person, letting that go can feel a bit like losing yourself. But in reality, you're not losing yourself. You're actually meeting yourself for the very first time. A big part of individuation is facing what's called your shadow. Your shadow is everything you've pushed away, denied, or hidden about yourself. The anger you were told was too much. The sensitivity you were told was weak. The desires you were told were wrong. So instead of expressing those parts, you buried them. But buried doesn't mean gone. Those parts still influence your decisions, your relationships and your emotions, just from the background. That's why sometimes you overreact, or self-sabotage, or feel triggered and don't fully understand why. It's not random. It's your shadow trying to be seen. Individuation is about bringing those hidden parts into awareness, not to judge them, but to understand and integrate them. Because the goal isn't to become perfect. The goal is to become whole. And wholeness means accepting all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the strong, and the vulnerable. Now, here's where it gets even more real. Individuation often doesn't start until something breaks. A relationship ends. A career stops fulfilling you. A major life change happens. Suddenly, the identity you built no longer works, and you're left asking, who am I now? Most people, try to escape that question. They distract themselves. They rush into something new. They try to rebuild the same identity in a different form. But individuation, well, it asks you to pause, to sit in the discomfort, to allow the old version of you to fall apart without immediately replacing it. Because that space, the uncomfortable, uncertain space, is where transformation happens. It's where you begin to separate who you truly are from who you were conditioned to be. You start making different choices. You say no when you used to say yes. You speak up when you used to stay silent. You walk away from things that no longer align with you. And at first, it feels unnatural. People around you might not understand. Some might even resist the change. Because your growth, well, it challenges their expectations. But individuation isn't about staying comfortable. It's about becoming authentic. And authenticity requires courage. The courage to disappoint others. The courage to face yourself honestly. The courage to choose truth over approval. Over time, something powerful begins to happen. You stop seeking validation as much. You feel more grounded in your decisions. You experience a deeper sense of peace, not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer divided within yourself. You become aligned, and that alignment changes everything. Your relationships become more real. Your goals become more meaningful. Your life starts to feel like it actually belongs to you. But, understand this. Individuation is not a destination. It's a lifelong process. You don't just arrive and suddenly have everything figured out. You continue evolving, growing, shedding old layers, and discovering new depths of who you are. And that's the beauty of it. Because life isn't about becoming a fixed version of yourself. It's about continuously becoming. So, if you're in a phase where things feel uncertain, where your identity feels like it's shifting, where you're questioning everything you once believed, don't panic. You're not lost. You're individuating. You're stepping out of who you were told to be, and stepping into who you're meant to become. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's confusing. But it's also one of the most important journeys you will ever take. Because at the end of it, you don't just find answers. You find yourself.